You can try it again.
What up? What up? What up?
There we go.
How y'all doing? Hey, Merry Christmas to everybody.
It's late.
Yeah, it is late. It was late. We back from the holiday. Well,
Yes.
going into another, but hopefully everybody is doing good. Everybody had wonderful, happy holidays. You have reached your family participation levels comfortably, and you are back settled.
Yeah.
So
We're gonna do a better job in 2024 of our
intros.
yes.
Yeah, I'm
So-
with you on that.
Rewind. Welcome to another episode of Love and Business,
Yeah,
where we talk about love
and business.
and business every Thursday night, or at least every Thursday night that we can.
I know, right?
We
Yeah.
talk about love and business. I'm Crystal. If this is your first time joining us, and this is my awesome husband, Lemoyne. Yes. So we need you guys to do us a favor as you are dragging in on this cold Thursday night.
Yeah.
We need you guys to hit the like, the love button, hit all of that. And then we need you to hit the share button.
Yeah.
Tag a few friends in if you like, tag a few folks that you think can benefit from our information. I think the whole world can benefit from our information, but it might be a tad bit hard to tag all 7.5 billion users of Facebook, but hey, we can give it a shot. So yeah, if you're just joining us, tell us where you're watching from tonight.
Please do.
And then yeah, hit the share button for us.
And hashtag live.
Absolutely.
Hashtag live.
Absolutely. Well, we got a lot to talk about tonight. And there's already some people here with us waiting to hear what we have to talk about. Do you have one of your situations?
No, I don't. I don't think it may come up in the conversation, but no, I don't.
You don't have any at all?
Not that I can think of.
Oh, okay.
Not that I can think of. Like, do you have some? I mean, we've been together for all week. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
pretty much. So I don't know.
No, the only thing that's top on my mind is that I was just scramaging a few minutes ago trying to fix something extra to eat for my kids, because for some reason we're raising children that don't like to eat leftovers. I'm not necessarily sure like what that is or why my children feel like
they can't
eat leftovers. I'm really confused. I think it's partially our fault.
It kind of is, because
we
our
grew
folks
up,
will say you go eat it before it eat you.
Yeah, and so our kids are absolutely used to having options, and so I had cooked spaghetti yesterday, and they were it was phenomenal.
It was good,
phenomenal.
Good vegan spaghetti.
Yes, it was amazing vegan spaghetti. And then I went and ate it again today. And I told the children earlier today that that's what we were eating for dinner. And those same children told me they wasn't eating it for dinner. So I guess it's just it's the new kids on the block that decide they don't do leftovers. So
they do go to Starbucks and get acai, whatever.
It ain't Starbucks. They go to that's Smoothie King.
No, they get the acai drink, lemonade, or whatever.
Oh yeah, that whatever. Man. Kirsten came to me today
IKEA.
while I was don't say that.
IKEA.
Well, I was on the phone earlier today, and Kirsten comes up with her phone and she says, "Hey, can I order DoorDash?" And I was kind of taken aback, and I was also trying to listen to the conversation on the phone. And I was like, "DoorDash? What are you trying to order on DoorDash?" And she showed me her phone, and of course, it's Starbucks on there. So I'm like, "What are you gonna order from Starbucks on DoorDash? Because if you get a you get a $5 drink, and then you're gonna pay $5 to have it delivered." I was like, I don't really know if that's worth the situation, but now my 8-year-old wants to do DoorDash.
Now, here's what I want to ask. All right, we talking about the kids. Tell me if I'm tripping. Right. So we go, Crystal is out of town. She went to a conference in DC. I got the girls. They asked to go. No, my oldest daughter asked me to go to Smoothie King to go and get her acai bowl.
Mm-hmm.
We go, I order, I say, I want the PB acai bowl with no fruit. Right. It comes with like strawberries and blueberries and bananas and granola, some other stuff on it. I get to the window, the lady says it's $13. And I jumped back. I said, $13, right? For a bowl, and then my daughter got the audacity to say she want everything on the side. I said, ma'am,
she didn't even want the stuff.
She didn't even want it.
So she basically wanted a smoothie in a bowl.
In a bowl. I said, why not just get the smoothie? Why get the bowl? And then I tell the lady, I said, ma'am, please put those toppings on the side. You know what I'm saying? And give them to me, please.
Yeah.
And my daughter, like, why are you acting like that? Like you know what I'm saying? Like we can't pay for a $13 bowl. I was like, you can't pay for a $13 bowl for sure. But what I do want you to know is we paying for these toppings.
Yeah.
So they not charging us no less for not getting these toppings. So we're gonna get these toppings. You know what I mean? Yeah. You talking about you don't like it. Why get the bowl?
But why order a bowl? Like, why not just order the flavor of smoothie in that's at the bottom of the bowl? So
she don't even get the peanut butter put in it. It's called a PB smoothie. She don't even get the peanut butter put in it. No granola, no strawberries, no blueberries, no.
I'm not gonna lie. It sounds like a full-blown definition of a privileged kid.
Yeah.
If you ask me.
Y'all tell me if I'm tripping or not. If you know what I'm saying, put a 1 in the chat.
They can tell you if you tripping or not. You tripping if you don't order. I'm like, order a smoothie.
That's what I didn't know what it was, but it took me back because I'm like $13. Man, this is, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you can barely.
I don't care about paying the $13 for what you're ordering, but it was like everything that came in the bowl. She didn't want.
I want it all. Give it all to me. And then her sister ended up eating the fruit.
All the fruit.
You know what I'm saying? And Caitlin ate some too, but she just didn't want it in the bowl. Talking about it just take up. It's hard to mix in or something. I was like, you can get it on the side and dab it in yourself.
Well, I think their preference is to eat more of the smoothie like substance. They'll eat the fruit, but they want to eat the fruit separately. So it really should have been ordered separately if that's how they wanted it. But if you didn't want the fruit at all, just order the smoothie. But
me think that I'm
clearly our children have they have options.
They do. They do. And sometimes I don't know. I guess that's the part that I feel like we are in that curve. Well, I know I am for sure. You know what I mean? Because I didn't have many options. You know what I mean? It was like, if you got like ham sandwiches.
Well, the whole golden objective is to give them options.
It is, but now it's like, you know, how many options is too many options? You know what I mean? Like, I'm okay with going to 2 different places to get something to, to get something for them to eat. You know, especially if they en route. I'm all right with that. I don't want to go all the way across town for it. But I'm okay with, I'm okay with that. Whereas, my mom cooked pretty much every day. So
we're not in that arena, especially, given that
that was a different setup.
Yeah, we don't even, which I cook a lot. I do cook a good bit, but sometimes there are seasons where, I can't do that. So obviously we're building, a framework to where they're accustomed to having options, which has a lot to do with today's, podcast as well. Just setting them up to know and understand that they do have options. I think that they're playing it out in all arenas. 100% to their advantage. And so
I agree.
I think we just have to tread lightly, when we're trying to figure out how to tame that. And that's a different space, I guess, to operate in, because it's not like we can go off of how we were raised, because that's not, the same scenario. We really have to, kind of lean on Holy Spirit to say, this is what we, should or shouldn't do in certain arenas to try to help them to, grasp a better understanding in certain situations.
I agree. So I don't know if you guys that are watching, like, how was y'all kids' Christmas list? If you got kids, like, was it outlandish or was it, like in line? Was it modest, or did they go like all out, over the top with it? You know what I mean? Because I think our girls may have.
You think we went over the top?
No, I think they asked for some over the top.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They did ask for over the top things. That doesn't necessarily mean that we had to get all of them, but
absolutely.
There were some requests for cell phones that was up there for people that don't even talk on the phone,
don't check an email or nothing.
No, they just talk to their friends every now and then, but mostly they play games on it.
That's exactly what that's exactly what
but anyway, I'm ready to jump into into tonight's topic. I see a lot of you guys are tagging where you watching from tonight. I see we got some people from Alabama,
Montgomery,
Virginia, Ohio in the house. Okay, well, hello for you that are just joining us inside of our ramble conversation. We were just talking about how privileged we feel like our kids are in certain situations. I will say it's not necessarily like that in all situations, but we need you guys to tell us where you're watching from. We need you to hit the share button and tag a couple of people, that want to hear about tonight's discussion. We're talking about being the bank.
Yeah.
And so this is our first podcast, I think, in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously the last one for 2023. So we've had a lot to transpire over the last 2 weeks, and we kind of wanted to, recap a little bit of that and, kind of merge that into our conversation for today, mainly because we've had the opportunity at this point to be the bank.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels great. It feels different. And
they're very different.
Yeah. And I would definitely like to dive into that. I'd like to share, some of the framework, behind doing that, what it looks like incrementally for, people to be able to do that. And so we're going to attempt to do our best to kind of dissect, some of our processes and, strategies behind how we've, been able to, utilize the resources that we have at our fingertips, to kind of help us to, build wealth and, to understand money differently, to see things differently, to think outside of the box, like all of that. So it'll be a conversation and a lesson, I guess, at the same time. But, basically what sparked it is we did for Christmas. We did buy our daughters, out of the box Christmas gift, which we bought a duplex, which if you're familiar with that, is basically a property. It's a 2-in-1, right? You have two properties under one roof. And so we bought a duplex property, and, we explained to the girls that was a Christmas gift for them. And the reason we did that is because we want them to continue to know and understand, what we're doing as their parents. And we want them to see, more of the, the inside scoop of, what it looks like to build wealth and to do it long term. So it's not that we didn't buy them, any other types of Christmas gifts. Obviously, as as kids, they're more excited about the tangible things that they can actually hold in their hands. But us purchasing the property is more so about legacy building, and then of course generational wealth. And so when we purchased, the duplex, it was, now mind you, this is not our first, real estate investment.
Not at all.
Property. However, now we're being more strategic and more intentional, about how often we're buying properties, what type of properties we're buying, and the reason behind, the purchase. And so we explained to the girls, hey, this is your Christmas gift, and this is why we're buying you this Christmas gift. And so, as we're sitting there explaining to them, we're letting them know, hey, one side of the property is going to pay for the expenses of the property. The other side of the, the property is going to,
that goes for y'all money.
Yeah, be cash in hand. And so they're understanding some of it. Obviously, at their ages, there's only, they can understand a good bit of it. But for them, they're like, well, why would I get a property?
Or why am I want to have access to the money.
Yeah, that's what they said, that they wanted to have access to the money.
I want to be able to spend it when I want to spend it.
Yeah.
Like, let's pump the brakes just a tad.
Yeah. But I mean, it's cool to hear their perspectives on it. Obviously, they want access to the money because they feel like, I can just buy, what it is that I want to buy. But, we were explaining to them, hey, when we purchase properties like this, we're able to, continue to send you to the school, that you want to go to. And, we even did as much as, broke down, the monthly income from the property, and then times 12, and then times 5 years or times 10 years, what amount of money that would equate to. And they they understood, hey, this number is bigger than this number, like they were understanding the process of it. And so for us, that was a huge deal, because we're utilizing that moment to explain to them more than just purchasing a tangible thing.
Right.
Yeah.
What does it look like to actually put a plan in motion and follow through with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
To say, hey, look, we're going to acquire this property. It should cash flow us about $1,500 a month.
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like 12 months from now?
Yeah.
You take out your insurance payment, your taxes. What are you left with?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And you didn't pay any of that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Your tenant paid for that.
Yeah.
So now what does this money look like 5-10 years from now? What does it look like when you get old enough to, go to college, or when you're still trying to explore and find your way as it relates to what you really want to do are you scrapped for cash? Because now you have a cash flowing asset that you've had for the last 10, 15 years. My oldest daughter is 11. So in 10 years, she'll be 21. 7 years, she's going to college, or she's going something, she'll be out of school. She'll be 18. So what does that look like if she has access to, let's say, $1,200 a month that she, that she's not necessarily concerned, with where she's got to work or anything like that.
Yeah.
Or even if she took that same money, just to go a inkling deeper, just in this little slip right here. If we took that money, or she took that money and put it into that, let's say $1,000 a month into a cash value life insurance policy, now what does that look like for 10 years from now? 15 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, from the cash value that's accumulating within that policy, that she has the access to be able to pull those funds out, buy another property if she wants to. That's, at that point, she is her own bank.
Well, okay, so you expedited way too fast.
Okay.
I definitely don't think we probably should have went that quickly.
It was just in my mind. That's just where it go.
Yeah, and so I mean, since you mentioned it, I think now we should explain that. Okay. And so when we first got the State Farm Insurance Agency, that's when we got access to more information about being our own bank. And what we had, chose to do at that point in time, once we realized the power of life insurance, is that we would utilize the tool for retirement. We would utilize the tool for investment. We would utilize the tool to be our own bank. And so what Lemoyne just explained super expeditiously is that we utilize, life insurance over the last few years to be our own bank. And so what that looks like, real tangible, like real time, is what we believe is every time a child is born, as soon as they have a social security number, they should then get the highest value of life insurance policy that you can afford. And the reason being for that is obviously the younger the person, the cheaper it is to insure the life. We also utilize whole life insurance. Now, again, we're not financial advisors. We should probably put that out there just in case somebody's taking clips of whatever it is that you want to learn and understand.
I'm not your advisor.
Yes, we're not your financial advisor. And so what we're explaining here is what we have personally done, by way of the tools that we have access to, which, any and everybody has access to. And so our belief, again, is when a child has a social security number, they should get a life insurance policy. And I know a lot of times people feel like, getting a life insurance policy on a child is
taboo.
Yeah. Or, they feel like, some people have like this weird thing, like if I get a life insurance policy on my child and they're going to die.
Yeah. That's
and I'm like, no, everybody's going to die. But anyway, that's a whole nother, story from that. But that's the process, that's the belief system that we have. Right. And so, both of our daughters have what we call 10-pay life insurance policies. Yeah. And inside of those 10-pay life insurance policies, what we're able to do, instead of having just a regular savings account for our kids, where we just, put $100 or $150 a month into a savings account, what we did was we purchased these 10-pay life insurance policies for our daughters. And every month we would then pay whatever the premium is for those life insurance policies. The other piece here that I want to mention, especially for those of you that are business owners, and then, you can afford to have your children on staff, is we actually employ our daughters.
Right.
Now, that is perfectly legal to do. You need to Google the amount. I believe that the amount has increased to, I don't know what the number
12,
is now.
Maybe a little bit over 12.
12,000.
It was 11,999.
Yes.
Yep.
So the number has now changed to, over $12,000 a year that your kids can earn as long as they're doing a legitimate job inside of your business. You would need to know what that is. I don't know what that is. I don't advise what your child should be doing in your business.
Fill the copier up.
Whatever they sweeping floors, they're answering the phone.
Now they're marketing.
They're marketing for you. Whatever it is that you have created as a legitimate position inside of your company for your child. Right. And so we employ our daughters inside of our companies, and basically their salaries pay for their life insurance policies.
Yep.
So to make this very simple to understand, Caitlin and Kirsten are employed by a company that we own. easy math. If we can give our children $12,000 a year, I'm gonna do the math because that's $1,000 a month. I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't use my calculator. But my brain, look, math over here is done for. Do you hear me? Everything is gonna happen inside this calculator. I mean, this phone, including how to spell. Yeah. So $1,000 a month is what they would get on the easy level, right? If our children can make $12,000 a year on the easy tip, they would then get $1,000 a month as their income, right? As employees of a company that we own, right? So then we figure out what is the max amount that we can insure their life for at $1,000 a month.
Right. That's my budget.
That's my budget. $1,000 a month because I can give them a max of $12,000 a year, right? We're explaining this as easy as we can possibly put it. All right. And so then what that looks like, trying to give it easy math again, let's just say that policy then equates to a $500,000 life insurance policy. All right. Easy math. We're just keeping it easy.
Whole life,
10-pay life insurance policy. Now, what 10-pay means is after 10 years, I no longer have to pay a premium for that policy. However, the policy is still intact,
still in existence,
and forever. It is still forever.
The premiums are just paid up.
They're paid.
You don't owe anything.
It's like paying off a car, or paying off a house, right? Paying off a credit card, however you want to think of that, right? But after 10 years, I am no longer making payments, but I still have the face value of a $500,000 for that policy. So if something happens,
your family,
then you have that policy. Now, the second part of which we now become the bank is that same policy is building cash value while we're paying the premiums for 10 years. And it continues to build cash value after the 10 years.
Because the life insurance company is investing your money.
They're investing.
That's all they do. It's just the power of them putting all of the money together and investing it. So they're able to pay you, a premium or dividends, interest on the funds that's being held in that particular account.
So I also want to do some more math here, so that I guess everybody can understand a little bit more. All right. So I said that we would pay $1,000 a month because the max, number that we came up with was $12,000 a year that they can, make as a child doing a legitimate job inside of your business. Right. All right. So then after 10 years, that means that I would have paid them $120,000 into their policy, right? So over a 10-year time frame, they've made $120,000. And what is also beautiful about this is their money isn't taxed at the same rate because they are kids.
Right. That $12,000.
That $12,000 that you're paying them each year is not being taxed at the same rate that it would be as an adult.
Right.
All right.
Because you're based on your tax bracket. It's marginal income. It's not necessarily based on age. But if you make over a certain amount, let's say 13,000 a year, now your tax bracket increases. Right?
Correct.
You move to a different tax bracket. If you're making 13 to 27 or 35, I don't know exactly what the brackets are, but then it moves, right? And then it goes, continues to go from there. So now,
before I proceed, are we tracking? I just say I'm tracking in the comments. If you are tracking where we are right now, what we have explained, just make sure you're tracking because we're explaining to you how we are becoming our own bank and how you can become your own bank
to continue to build assets.
Okay. All right. Okay. Dawn says she's tracking. Okay. Latanya says she's tracking. Okay. So we got at least two people that's paying attention. The rest of y'all driving, don't text.
Ramona says she's tracking.
Ramona says she's tracking. All right. So now we got enough people that we can move forward with instruction. Okay. Now, if you're watching the replay, you're gonna have to drop some questions in there. If you got some problems. All right. So now again, what I just stated was kids aren't taxed at the same rate. And Sonia is on here, and I know that she's a tax professional, and so she can attest to what I'm saying here, that kids are not taxed at the same rate as adults. Why is that important? Because we're getting the best use of that $1,000 a month, right? Because we're not having to pay the same that we would pay in taxes if I had just added that $1,000 to my salary.
And it's a tax deduction.
And it's a tax deduction for the business.
I'm paying them like employees, so I'm able to write off another $24,000 of payroll
taxes,
right? That's going to, you know, my family, that's going into the cash value life insurance policy and gives us the opportunity to rinse and reuse that money.
All right. So you agree. She says 100. All right, great. Now, why are we explaining this? Okay. We are taking this 10-pay whole life insurance policy, and every month that we're paying $1,000 toward the premium, we are using that account as our bank.
Yep.
All right. Now, here is where this becomes most important. Most important. As this policy is building cash value, myself and Lemoyne, as the parents of our children, are the owners of this bank. I'm sorry, the policy of this bank. Yeah. Oh, wait, the policy of this bank. All right. Lemoyne and Crystal are the owners of this bank. All right. And so what we are able to do as the owners of the bank is we can take money out of this bank at any given time that we so choose, obviously based on the amount of cash value that policy has
accrued at the time.
Yes. Yeah. And so what that looks like long term, let's just say that we fast forwarded and now it's 10 years later and we're completely finished with paying for the policy. It is still building cash value, but at year 10, we're just going to use a roundabout number. At year 10, even though we've only paid $120,000 into this policy, we'll likely have access to something like $160,000 worth of cash value, right? Because our money has been making money as we have been storing it in our own bank. Okay.
Yep.
Now, why is this important? Okay. I am slowly explaining this because I want people to get it, and I want people to understand that it is real and it does happen.
It is.
And this is how wealth is transferred. All right. And so let's just say now we have fast forwarded to 2031 and Caitlin has graduated from high school. And now inside of this policy, we have access to $160,000 cash. All right. I now want to borrow some of my own money. I don't have to get a credit check. I don't have to ask anybody's permission. I don't have to get any references. I can just go to my bank, my policy, and I can say, hey, State Farm insurance agent, I would like to withdraw $100,000 from my bank. And what are you going to tell me?
You want me to mail it to you, or you going to pick it up?
And that's the power, right, of being your own bank.
As simple as that. There's no questions as to what are you using it for. Are you buying a car? Are you paying college tuition? Are you buying another property? It doesn't really matter. It's nothing, nothing to do with that. You have access to it. It's in the policy, from that. So you're able to rinse and reuse that like time and time again.
Time and time again. Now, what does that look like? Let's just say I'm now going to paint a whole nother picture so that it seems very real and tangible for everybody to understand. Now, it seems real. It is real. This is how you do it. I go to him and I say, I want $100,000, right?
Yep.
And then I see a property that I want, and this property is $100,000. I then can go pay cash for this property that costs $100,000. Number one, that gives me a great advantage because a lot of times in real estate, you can get a whole lot quicker sale. Amen. Praise the Lord.
Absolutely.
When you're paying cash, right? Yep. The buyers are a lot more eager to go through with the sale. They'll take a whole. Yes, it goes through a whole lot faster. They'll take a lot less than what they typically would have taken if they had to finance the project, right? Like there's just so many advantages to having cash on hand. Now, let's just explain another scenario. I got this $100,000 outside of my policy. Is my policy still building cash value at the same rate?
It is.
As if I never took the $100,000 out?
You never took it out.
Okay.
If you take that same money out of your bank account that you got at, down the street savings and loans, then now it's going to reduce the amount that you have. So now you're no longer earning interest on those funds because now you've taken them out. Whereas in the policy, that money continues to build uninterrupted cash value or uninterrupted interest. Compounding interest is the word I'm looking for. Uninterrupted compounding interest while you still put this money to work out here in the street.
Because we want our money to have babies. Like that's it. Want all our money to have some children running around out here.
And go out there and come on back with a few more.
And come on back with some more. We want our children to have, I'm talking about our money children. We wanted to have as many children as it possibly can, right? And so, Ramona, you're exactly right. Cash sales can close in less than 10 days. You know, we close the once all of our paperwork was signed, I think we closed in 3 days.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
love cash buyers.
Absolutely.
I mean, it just makes it. But when you have access to cash, you have options.
Absolutely.
Right. But this is how you can incrementally do that. Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because a lot of people that may be on here, you know, could have some health challenges or could be a little bit older, because again, it is life insurance at the surface of it. Mm-hmm. Right. That's what it is. It is life insurance that has some added benefits to it. Mm-hmm. So if you need to borrow a child, mm-hmm. right, a child, we do it on our kids because for the cash value, but also we want to make sure that we continue to transfer generational wealth, mm-hmm. because even though the cash value is good, but when they transition from this life to the next 100 years from now, right, then I know that the generation that they leave behind will have some bread. They'll mm-hmm. have an inheritance.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because less than 10% of African Americans have an inheritance, and half of those is less than $50,000.
Yeah, we definitely not talking about a $10,000-$15,000 life insurance policy here. Like we're talking about making, you know what I'm saying, a legitimate sacrifice up front, you know, to be able to do these types of things long term. Right. Can y'all, you know, are y'all still tracking, with us? I still need y'all to put again, I'm tracking if you are tracking. And I'll do a segue while you're doing that. But the reason I say to make those, short-term sacrifices up front is, when I made the post about us purchasing the house last week. Mm-hmm. It was actually this time last week. It was last Thursday we closed. But years ago, we didn't buy Christmas gifts. Yeah. Like we literally stopped buying Christmas gifts because, at the time, we still had credit card debt. You know what I'm saying? We still, had some things that we aspired to do that we couldn't necessarily financially do, without being hurt from it. Yeah. And so we made a stiff decision to stop buying Christmas gifts, for a plethora of reasons, but mainly it was, if I can't do it how I want to do it, then I need to make, this short-term, sacrifice in this window of time so that things like Thursday could happen for us. Right. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm grateful for 100%. The season, of, I don't know, 6-7 years or so that we didn't purchase, Christmas gifts, right? Because we had a bigger picture, right, in mind. And so I am then challenging you to see that, hey, it's possible, but you do, wherever you are right now. I mean, hey, it could be somebody on here now that's saying, man, I'm finna dump all of the stuff in my savings account off into a policy because this makes sense to me, right? But and segue to that, the reason why you shouldn't necessarily just have it all clunked up in the bank is because that same bank, if you go to them and say, I got an investment property that I want to invest in, they will look you dead in your face and say they won't fund it, even though you've been putting into your own savings account. They're
holding the bread.
They're holding it. Yeah. Hey, I got 100,000 over here and you won't finance the project? Don't make sense to me.
But let me run your credit. Let me
run your credit first. They still have to run your credit. So I just wanted to give that little segue that, you do have to, if you're not necessarily in the position to pay $1,000 a month or $500 a month or whatever, you start where you are. It's a building block. Yeah, you start where you are.
We did that because of the business structure.
Right.
We knew what we wanted how we wanted it to make it, make it work. But please start somewhere.
Yeah, you start where you are. We're giving you, easy numbers, to do the math. The $1,000 a month, that's easy number to do the math. I think that this plan works just as well with $500 a month or $200 a month, whatever the case may be. But, the grand picture of it is, that same $100,000 back to, where we are in the example, because now y'all said you're tracking with us and you're still on pace. That same $100,000 I can take to a cash sale. Right. I can purchase this property. And now the bank says, oh, we'll finance it for you. Why? Because you got full ownership of the
deed.
Yeah. You got the deed in hand. You know what I'm saying? The bank doesn't see it as risky. Right. And they'll turn around and refinance the property for you. Yeah. And now you'll get, let's just say, $80,000 of that $100,000 back.
And if it's something that you need to maybe put a little work into, fix up, then the equity amount
could
increase. And now you can get the money you put into it back plus some.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so for us, we saw utilizing, life insurance as a tool this way, because now we can rinse and reuse, the same money. I see it as like, when you use paper plates, you got to throw them in the trash.
The Chinette one's kind of good though.
You can't wash a Chinette. It's paper. You missing my example. But real China, like real dishes, you can wash and reuse those like over and over and over again. And I see cash value, inside of life insurance policies as real China, right? Yeah. Like I can use this from time to time. And so even from this example in itself, if I purchase a property, $100,000 cash that has a value of $150,000, just make the numbers easy. And then I go and let's just say it's a duplex. And then I go and I rent one half out. I mean, both of them out, but one part of that duplex is going to now pay back the loan that I got to refinance it, right? And then the other half of it is just money in my pocket. But I now have that original $100,000 that I put into that property. I have it back in my hand. I can do one or two things. I can put it back in my bank.
Right, pay it back.
I can pay it back to my policy
because ain't nobody hounding you if not.
Nobody's hounding you. And now keep this piece here. Now we started the example with a $500,000 life insurance policy. We took out $100,000 loan on that policy. So if from the cash value, so if anything transpires in between that, then the death benefit of that policy now changes to $400,000 because we didn't pay the $100,000 back. Right. So I hope you're still tracking with that.
If you do decide, if you were paying it back, I suggest paying it back because that's how you can continue to use the system, right? Because you would have paid a bank back if you were, if you would have took a loan out. But the deal is, it's not a structured payment, right? So if you have an off month or something is not, lining up and you need to, okay, well, I'll pay that one next month. The property hadn't sold yet, so you hadn't been able to, fully pay it all back or whatever. You don't have to be worrying about a creditor being down your back or reporting something on your credit or anything like that because it's your bank,
your money,
or you go report you to the credit bureau type deal. That's not how that works. So that's another added benefit, especially for those that want to that really want to do things as it relates to turning that money over, grabbing it and having access to it. It's liquidity, use, and control, right? If you don't have, if your money isn't liquid like it should be, if you don't have control of it, and you can't use it the way that you want to, then it's essentially incarcerated.
And I don't want my money in jail. I don't want to go to jail, and I don't want my money to go to jail. I need both of us to be free.
Hey, already
free in the Lord and free to roam about the country. I just, but I'm glad that everybody is still tracking here. And so we're utilizing this same example just to bring like all of these options full circle, because we do want people to understand that you can, be your own bank. And we're not saying that the bank is bad people, but I am saying that the bank does present some restrictions.
Yeah, which is limiting. Limiting how we can freely flow, because a property that we may see, it may be too tore down for them, or we may just need to move faster to get.
And they may not see the vision. You're exactly right. Where we buy a property that may only cost $80,000, but we know after renovations that same property is gonna be worth $260,000. The bank may not see that vision, but if God gave me that vision, and I also have the provisions, I'm gonna get that property.
Exactly.
Whether the bank says yay or nay.
Exactly.
I'll come back to y'all later if you want to make a couple dollars off of it. You could have made more, but since you didn't, I'll be my own bank. Exactly. And I'm just, excited to share the, the flexibility in options like that, because a lot of times people feel, so trapped, right? They feel like, I gotta have, good credit and all this kind of stuff to start, doing something.
Right.
And it's not always, that's not always the thing. Because of course the credit system it's a game. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. There's no real rule out there that says
privately owned.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Experian, TransUnion, Equifax, those are privately owned companies, guys. You know what I'm saying? They don't even, they privately own. And even, just talking about, that's one facet of the policy. You know what I'm saying? That's something that we can rinse and reuse. A lot of times when somebody says life insurance, people automatically think about death.
And it's the word says life.
you'll be surprised that and you can look this stuff up on like online on like the FDIC website and things like that, how much assets banks have and how much of it is in cash value life insurance, because it is a sure bet. That's how they fund a lot of their stuff. That's their safe space. That's their safe money.
So why wouldn't we do what the banks are doing?
You know
if you really want to be the bank,
it's legit out there.
Yeah.
So even down the line, right? That's an alternative retirement account, right? Because those funds have already been taxed. So leveraging that in the event of for your retirement is key, right? Because we don't know what taxes will be at that time. Right, taxes are what they are right now, but you can look this up online. It's already slated for the next 10 years that taxes are going to be going up. So,
well, let me ask you this question:
go ahead.
When I pull out money from my life insurance policy, am I taxed on it?
No.
Oh,
no, because it's considered a loan. Right, it's two different ways that you can take it out. You can surrender it, or you can take a loan on it. I suggest a loan. That way, it is not a taxable event of any sort, right? So, and you have the flexibility, and that money continues to work because, again, it is quote unquote a loan.
So right? I can take out a loan for $100,000. I can buy a property for $100,000. That said property is worth $150,000. I can then refinance that property with a bank and take my $100,000 out because now the property is worth more than what I paid for it. So I can get the whole $100,000 back. I can put that back in and that's not a taxable event.
That's not a taxable event. The only thing you're going to be taxed on is the income you're making off your property that you just bought.
Oh, okay.
That's what you go pay taxes on.
Are y'all tracking?
If and there's some ways that you can set that up that'll make that pretty sweet too.
Are you tracking? Is all I have to say.
But
and there's some tax professionals in the comments. So if we is out here saying something that ain't real and true, I'm asking y'all to call me on it because I'm just telling you that it sounds like it's a sweet deal to me.
Try Jesus, don't try me.
I
know what I knew. No, but that's essentially it. So think about it. Again, alternative retirement. It's an alternative 503B. It's an alternative college fund.
Yeah, there's a lot of people like when we're always asked that. When we have meetings with CPAs and financial advisors, we always get the question of what do you guys have set up for your retirement, and we always tell them life insurance.
Yeah.
And I know it may seem unorthodox the most, you know what I'm saying? I get it. If you want to, live and die by the 401k, then, blessed be to God. But I'm not saying that it's wrong. I'm just saying that
ain't all the way right.
It's not right for us, and sometimes, when you do the college funds and things of that nature, of course, it's restricted to college.
Yeah.
And we are sitting here in a time of which we're not guaranteed that our children would, if they do attend college, do they attend for 4 years? Do they attend for 2 years? Do they take a gap year? Do they, do some type of alternative, to college? We really don't know because technology is changing so quickly.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, you got people like Google that's set to, lay off tens of thousands of people because of AI.
30,000.
I said tens of thousands, but
I just wanted to put it out there.
And so I'm just saying that, in thinking of all of that, as as a parent of younger kids, I don't want to, say I'm going to tie my funds up into a college fund. Not saying that I don't have a plan, because obviously, what I'm saying, with this same tool here, I can still take out 100, just as an example, I can take out 160,000 and say, boom, here go the next 4 years. Don't y'all call me for nothing. Lock my tuition in. I'm not paying another dollar.
Let's do it.
Give me the upfront fee.
And guess what? Why are you doing that, right? Why are you doing that? Because you would have been paying the tuition fee anyway. So now the cash flow that you already have set aside from the properties or investments that you got out there, now you're paying yourself back. Your money is still growing, uninterrupted compounding interest in that policy as if it was never touched. And even if let's say you took out 100,000 and now next year the value of it is 120,000, you still have that extra 20,000 that you can snatch out If it grows by another 10,000 the following year and you never paid any of it back, you still got that additional 10 that you can pull out. So it's gonna keep growing uninterrupted compounding interest. No, as long as you have the policy in force.
I'm just saying that, like Evelyn said, I love the flexibility of it. Absolutely. I love options, right? And so even in this same scenario, if I just waited until our oldest daughter turned 18, and instead of paying her full 4 years in college tuition, I take part of that money and I pay her her first year of tuition, and then I take another 100,000 of that money and I go and buy her a property.
There it is.
Right. Yep. And then I do the same exact example, right? I do the same exact example, and I take that money and I refinance the property with a bank or whatever, and then I put the money back in her account. And now that real estate investment property is paying her tuition. Yep. Right? Like, it's just so many, different options, that you could utilize for that, you know what I'm saying? Or I buy that investment property, and instead of me paying for her to live on campus, she stays in, in one side. If I get a fourplex, she stays in one apartment, and then 3 other people are now paying the rent plus some income for her. Right. And she's done nothing but be my daughter.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the thought process, is if we can set our children up, for generations to come that way. It's like, not only does she have the freedom of just going to college only to learn and not contemplating how she's going to pay for it, or does she need to pay interest on her student loans while she's in there? Right. Does she need to get a job for, extra income while she's there? Like, none of those thoughts are ever going to come to her mind, because the plan is already set up now. Right. While she's, 8, 10, 11, whatever, like, the idea here is that we're setting them up for success long term by making these upfront
sacrifices now.
Sacrifices now, or in some cases they're not they're not sacrifices now, they're strategies, what I'm saying?
That's a better way to say
but in the beginning, for some there are going to be sacrifices that have to be made. And thanks be to God, we're now in the position to where it's not a sacrifice, now it's a strategy. Right, where initially when we did that, it was a sacrifice, to put those policies out there and say, long term, this is what the goal is for them, but if you're thinking big picture, and long-term vision, this is how you set the scope, right, for a new year. You start putting in strategies right now that for years to come, you're still building on that vision versus 100%. Starting from scratch every year saying it's a new year, it's a new me. Look, only thing new I'm trying to get is new revelation, new word, but I'm trying to start everything over from scratch. Year. You know what I'm saying? New crew, new whatever, new friends, all of this. I'm like, no, I don't want to start from, level 0 every year. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, I'm wanting to build, right? We want to build on the previous years. And the way to do that is to start strategically thinking now, right? What does 10 years from now look like today? But the decisions that I'm making today are allowing me to become the bank tomorrow. And that's how we have to, work the framework in that, and not think about what we're losing out on or what we're missing, or, how much something costs, because the objective here is that it's not costing me now what it's going to cost me in the future. It's only costing me what you think is a lot now. Right? Because, the truth be told, when we first said we was going to pay $1,000 a month for a policy, it was a lot.
It was a lot. It still is a lot.
It was a lot. And now, you know what I'm saying, when your children getting $13 smoothie bowls, you know what I'm saying? It's like, But the goal and objective here is for us to be able to see up the street and around the corner, right? We're making ourselves become the bank by doing whatever it takes for us to do now, even if that looks like I'm going to start this at $150. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever that, that amount is inside of the time frame of which I'm sitting now, that doesn't mean that has to be, my long term. I think Ramona had asked a question. She said, is there an age limit on a whole life policy?
Not necessarily that it's an age limit. It probably becomes more cost prohibitive, right? It may not make, money sense to do it, if you're very, very, very seasoned, or for somebody that's very, very, very old. But again, and health has a lot to do with it as well, right? But again, you pay for it with your money, but you buy it with your health, right? The better the healthier you are, the easier it is to acquire it.
Yeah, which is exactly why obviously we said as soon as your child has a social security number, because even if the child is diagnosed with something at age 2 or 3 or whatever, that policy's been intact since they were days or weeks old, however long it takes for that social security, and however long it takes for that social security number to come in the mail, because obviously you need the social security number for the policy. You can't just be all out here willy-nilly writing no policies. But
you're right too. She said if you in the 401k, they'll tax you 10 if you take it out, and then another 10 if you don't pay it back.
Oh, absolutely.
You borrow from yourself,
and you still borrowing from yourself. And that's the reason why we just saw it, and it does take a level of discipline. I really think your money ain't as safe, in a 401k, from the perspective of it ain't safe from you. No, you know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes we need to be, we need to put our own money in a prison. I ain't saying let nobody else put it in there, but if you lack the level of, of discipline, to be able to do that, then I would say, like, for the first how many years, maybe 2 years of a 10-pay life insurance policy is still building. It's not like a traditional savings account in the sense that, hey, I want to just access, I got $200 over there, let me go get it. Exactly. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about long term. Yeah, you're talking about long term building something. Yeah, and so the way to really do that is to think about it that way, so that when you put in hundreds or thousands of dollars over there, it's not that it's finna be 2024 and in 26 I'm gonna go and pull everything out of there. No, you got to let it sit and marinate. Let's think about, what I'm saying, a nice little steak that you want to put in. You don't marinate it for 5 minutes. Right. You know what I'm saying? Let the juices flow. Yeah, this is long term. This is long term. At least a 5 to 10 year strategy. Correct. Right. This Absolutely. Is at least 5 to 10 year strategy to be able to execute on that level. Of course, if the more you're financially able to put into it as as that safe haven type place, then the better it is. Because if you're putting a considerable amount in it on an annual basis, then you may be able to accrue $100,000 in that cash value fairly quickly. Right. Yeah. But if you're putting, let's say, a minimal amount, then just know and understand, like, hey, yep, it's going to take a little bit longer for me to get to that area, where I can really make a move in that way. Absolutely. And so I the whole point of, giving this full blown, explanation of, hey, how you can be your bank and be your own bank, and, how to utilize your own money, like Lamorne said, is to, show you that obviously this is a long-term strategy, but also to give you, wisdom and insight on the fact that it is possible. It is. You know what I'm saying? And it's actually doable. Don't psych yourself out thinking, oh my God, you know what I'm saying, I don't have $1,000 a month or whatever. Like, don't go there, right? Go to where are you now, and then what is your stretch goal, right? And a lot of times, when we meet people along the journey, I'm gonna tell you, I'm a faith person. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a believe for what. If 10 people don't believe, bring me in the room. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna believe it, And so I knew, from jump that, hey, I know it's a stretch for what it is that we're doing right now, but it ain't gonna be a stretch for long, right? And that's the type of mindset that you have to have when you're in these spaces where, you're doing something now that seems, unorthodox. Because of course, you're going to financial advisors that might not even have their own life insurance policy. You're going to financial advisors that may not, have nearly as much as you do to, invest. And so when you're inside of those rooms, you got to ask yourself, who am I talking to? What do they have access to? What are they doing with their with their own funds? I know you don't even know the person that's managing your 401k, because it's somebody in a HR department that's just hitting numbers and collecting stuff for you. So don't, all the fees and a whole bunch of fees. So don't sit here, I'm saying, and psych yourself out after you've heard all of this valuable free information that we've given you over the last hour, and then walk away from here and talk yourself out of this process. That is not why we spent this 60 minutes on here explaining to you everything that we know that we're using and that works, right? We didn't take this time out of our schedule. I did not eat half of my spaghetti instead of the whole bowl to come on here and tell y'all stuff for you to then go and say, I don't really know if that's gonna work. I'm telling you that we just paid cash for a property. And I'm telling you that property is long-term investment for our daughters. I'm telling you that we own these types of properties that we're talking about. I'm telling you that our kids are employed by us, right? I'm not telling you any strategy
that we have
not used,
that we see fruit from, that we see that it's working.
And so you can go ask your mama, your cousin, your uncle, and the person that cut your hair. If they ain't got none of what we talking about, then stop talking to them
about that.
If he cut your hair, you need to be talking about how fresh lines can possibly be. Okay, you need to be talking about how you get them beads off the back of your neck. But other than that, you don't need to be talking about nothing else up in there. And if it's a friend, you know what I'm saying, that you've known for a while, you need to look at the fruit of that friend. And whatever that fruit is, that's probably all they capable of producing at the moment. Stop getting in your own head. And while I'm on this rant, I don't know. It must be somebody that's listening on here that is in their head right now. Okay. And I'm telling you, the best thing that you can do is to then take action on the information that you have gotten, right? This is the sweet spot for me that leaves most people in the dust. When I find out some information, I don't care how raggedy it is that I get to start. You best believe that I'm gonna make it to the finish line. And what that means is my raggedy start was our first life insurance policy that we got for the girls wasn't a 10 pay. It was a 20 pay. Yeah. Because it was cheaper and it was easier for us to pay that monthly amount. But once we could afford a 10 pay with a large amount of premium attached to it, we immediately got a 10 pay and kept the 20 pay intact.
Absolutely.
But we started as raggedy as we possibly could. I think we were paying maybe $150 a month.
It was like $75 a piece or something like that for the girls. Yeah.
Yeah. So we started where we were, right? With that $150 a month on the 20 pay. And that policy is still up and going.
I got the notice 2 days ago or so to see the cash value.
Period. And so I'm just saying, don't be out here, psyching yourself out of, where you could be, because 10 years will roll around here, super fast. I'm walking around here now with an 11-year-old. I'm to somebody's mama. And it came on me fast. I'm now, barely looking over the top of my 11-year-old's head. The girl is almost tall as me. And it seemed like just like yesterday, that she's in a high chair. You know what I'm saying? It seems like just yesterday that I was, breastfeeding Kirsten at the State Farm office when we first opened. But she's 8. Our agency is 8 years old now. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm like, if I wish we would have sacrificed harder 8 years ago, because then Kirsten's policy would have been 2 years from being done. Yeah. But you think about, all of that stuff now. Yes, I'm to somebody's mama, baby. You hear me? To somebody's mama. But if you would just allow yourself to leave from where you are here today and go to where it is that you want to be, try to hang out over there. Hang out over there for a good little bit, and then understand what it is that you need to do to get there in reality. That's all we did. Is we thought and we believed years ago that we could be doing what it is that we're doing today. And as amazing as it seems, because when you purchase the properties now, they ain't got all high tech. They give you these
little jump drives.
They give you the jump drives. And so I get kind of OCD-ish toward the end of the year, and I just started cleaning up stuff. And so when I was on the phone earlier today, I was cleaning out my desk drawer, and I pulled out all of these jump drives, and I had 5 of them.
I know.
I had 5 jump drives. Now, what that means is how over whatever stint of time that was, we've had 5 closings, right, for real estate properties, for whatever sort. And I am in shock and awe. You know what I'm saying? Shock and awe, because the first time we purchased a real estate property was, I want to say in like 2018 or something like that. I just did the dates. Yeah, investment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, our very first house was.
Well, that's what I think about, because my folks only own one house,
right?
And I didn't even know that they bought that. I really did. I didn't know. I like for the longest, I wasn't sure. Oh, because most of the people that I knew rented. You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't sure. So when we asked them about buying our house originally, it was no insight.
No.
You know what I'm saying? It was no, because they only had the transaction one time. I don't really know how it all went down, but I don't think it was, but they had no insight. I'm saying that to say, hey, look, it's okay if you really don't have that in your circle right away.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Because some of the stuff that we've been able to do, our parents were not as fortunate to be able to do that. And in some cases they taught us everything that we know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
they knew.
That they knew, right?
Yeah.
But in some areas it just wasn't there. So just don't let that stop you. Don't be alarmed by that.
Absolutely not. And to me, it gets exciting, when I'm in foreign territories, because that means we're pioneering something. Yeah. We're setting out the path, for our daughters to then start where we left off and and keep going. Yeah. And that's the idea there. But like what I was saying was when I saw all of those jump jobs for the closings, I was just like, man, this is amazing. To me, that we went from being shaking in our boots about buying our first house to, now I'm having to make a spreadsheet to keep up with the properties. Cause I'm like, hold on, I need to know, what I'm saying? Like what's what here? Like now I can't just be like, oh, this the key, for this. I'm like, which key is this? Yeah. I was literally thinking that, the other day. And I'm like, man, this is a beautiful God moment, that we went from, I'm talking about scared out of our minds, not just for our first home, but like our first investment property, right. And then this year, and it expedites, right? Like after a while, and you get comfortable in the space, now it can happen faster. Yep. And we talked about, I think on our last policy podcast, how we did 2 real estate transactions within 30 days. Yeah. Right. And so now the knowledge is like it's like an exponential growth now, right? And that's the idea, is that you, just like when you're learning to walk, we are gonna crawl first, and some babies don't, whatever, I don't know, but the thing is, you should crawl, you should walk, then you jog lightly, or you kind of do a little, and then you run, like you're right, and then you do sprints, and then you do marathons, right? Like there are so many different levels, and then you can fly, what I'm saying? Like there's all kinds of things.
Do a backflip or something.
You can do all kinds of things. I can fly now, and so I do fly, and so I'm just telling you, think about your wealth journey that way. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Think about it that same way. It's like, now I am flying, but now I'm looking forward to flying private. Yeah. Like there's just so many other ways, to do things. But if you don't crawl, if you don't get that first, let me just see what it feels like to do $150 a month, or let me see what it feels like to do $500 a month, like whatever your case is. I'm just saying, if you don't start the process, it
won't get started.
It won't. I can't have any expectation, to fly international and I don't have a passport. I can't have any expectation to be a real estate investor and I won't invest in me. Right. Like it to me, none of that makes sense. Don't go out here telling people that you're an international traveler and you can't even find your state driver's license.
Well,
like that's the way that I look at something like that. Yeah. It's like we have to start where we are with the information that we have. And 100%. I'm not saying that we're the only people that know something, but I am saying that you've paid attention to us now for at least an hour. And I don't think that we're saying anything that's like too far outlandish, right? And I know that we're saying what we're saying in a spirit of integrity. Mm-hmm. I know that transfers through the airwaves here. I ain't got no reason to fluff it.
Yeah, none at all.
I don't have anything. No, I don't have anything to gain or to lose. You know what I'm saying? From giving the information, I just want to transparently share because I know that it works, and I know that a lot of people are looking for a how. Right, especially towards the end of the year, beginning of the year, you go scrambling looking for, what's my options, like what's my next strategy, what's my go-to, what can I sign up for, right? Like this is the time of year where folks just go like, I'm just about to go all in, and they usually have for about 30 days. Yep. And I'm like, fix it, Jesus.
That's it.
Let me give you a strategy. Let's give you a plan that we don't just use just for 2024, but we're like, no, this is the start of my wealth building strategy. This is the start, of my wealthy place. And here is the, step-by-step strategy that I'm going to use to get there. We just laid it out, for you as plain as day.
Hey, look, this is a moment. Let's take this moment and make it into a movement to reclaim what is rightfully ours, right? Mm-hmm. How we know we should be, living and existing to be able to do what we want to do for those that are with us now and the ones that's to come after us. You know what I mean? Just to continue to be fruitful. So we just want to share, the information because it is totally, changed our financial landscape and how we kind of see and view that and allowed us to really be able to maximize on a lot of opportunities.
100%.
You know what I mean? The worst opportunity is the one that you like, oh, I wish I would have been ready.
Oh, well, them ain't gonna be the ones. It's too late for that. And your kids only gonna be kids for but a moment. Yeah. Tanya had a question. If y'all got questions, we have a few minutes where we can answer them. Yeah. You can put them in the chat. But Tanya said, can you convert a term life
to 20? Yeah, it depends on it really depends on your carrier. It depends on who you have it with already. They may have that, and some companies don't. So that'll be something that it's company specific, which is one of the reasons I prefer that people, when you look at doing business with a company. And if you start with a term, nothing wrong with starting with a term. You need to cover your expenses, your death benefit, get as much of it as you can if that's the case. But make sure that they have permanent policies and understand what it takes, because some companies will put you back through underwriting and some won't put you back through underwriting if you have that term policy in place. But most of them can be converted 100%. But it is company specific.
Good answer. It's a really good answer. If there's any other questions, you can drop them in the chat. Yeah. While we're waiting on those questions, I do believe we should probably sponsor this podcast. So this podcast is brought to you by Lemoyne Robinson State Farm, located at 4747 Earhart Boulevard in New Orleans, Louisiana. Absolutely. If you do have I would say specific questions pertaining to your life insurance policies that you currently have, or policies that you would like to write in the future, you can contact him at his office. His office hours are from what movie? Is Lisa on here? What movie? My office hours are from 9 to 5.
Big Red was on him, wasn't it?
Oh, wait. You can contact him at 504-214 218. I'm sorry. Yeah. 218-4420. What's 218? Is that Meineke 218?
That's like the fax line or something. I don't know.
I think Meineke is 218.
All right.
Anyway, 504-214.
218.
I need to type it. I'm sorry. I don't call the office. No,
you don't.
I call his cell phone. 218-4420. Y'all can't call his cell phone. We don't do business on our cell phones. NT Moore. If you want to talk to us about any product or service that we offer at Lemoyne Robinson State Farm, that's going to be the phone number that you're going to want to reach out to between the office hours of.
It said 9 to 5.
9 to 5. Jalisa, you don't know that one. You didn't watch the 5 Heartbeats. Oh my gosh.
That's a classic.
Yeah, me and my sisters got this deal, y'all. Every time we say a quote from the movie, then we have to guess. You have to guess what movie it's from.
And they good. They are good.
Apparently, my sisters have not seen the 5 Heartbeats. Big Red said, my office hours are from 9 to 5. That's when he was dangling that man off the balcony. Yeah, you need to watch that movie, man. Golly. Yeah. Oh, and we do birthday shout outs.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, man.
Hey, how's it going, man? Thanks for joining us.
You ain't seen that? That movie is yes, but you still should have been able to see it. Everybody should have been to see it. If you haven't seen the 5 Heartbeats, that's the equivalent to the Temptations movie.
Yeah.
You have to have been seen. You got to see both of them.
That's a Sunday evening movie.
That's also a black card revoke moment, Jalisa. I just want you to let you know your card has been snatched. The fact that I have known you all 30 some odd years of your life, and I did not know you didn't see the 5 Heartbeats.
You should be ashamed as a big sister.
I thought they saw. I used to watch that movie all the time. My grandma never even had it on tape.
You should be.
Don't worry about it. We're gonna watch it tomorrow. Hey. We can watch it tomorrow night. The 5 Heartbeats. Anyway, it looked like they don't have no more questions inside of the chat. I don't see any new ones that came through here. But yeah, if you got some questions, y'all can call them at the office. During regular business hours, Monday through Friday. Typically, we close for New Year's Day, I believe. Close for New Year's Day, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But other than that, I feel like we've given some. I'm talking about some major gems, right? Major gems. I'm just telling you right now that some people probably charge you thousands of dollars inside of coaching programs to give you that type of information.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though it's pretty much free to the public, a lot of this stuff is Googleable.
But I mean, it's okay to pay for information.
It is. Okay, but I'm just saying, what I'm saying, that a lot of times this kind of information is, like it's structured and then it's trickled out.
Or I'll say this, because it's free, then a lot of times people will diminish it.
Yeah, they don't want to utilize it.
But if they put their money on it or say, okay, well, yeah, I'm gonna pay $1,000 to be in this room, then they will, they'll give more merit to that. But suit yourself.
Oh, did you just don't do that?
No, I'm just saying, it's okay. However you have to receive it. But I promise you, man, I'm qualified. The information is solid.
Yeah.
But that's, I'm speaking from experience too.
Yeah. And I'm glad you said that, Sonya. I would definitely recommend, especially, like the end of the year and stuff like that. It's a great time to review your policies, make sure that stuff, is intact. And that's not just life insurance, like that's any type of policy. What I found weird is that a lot of times people don't, review those things. So then you have folks that, are divorced and they still got, the beneficiary is the ex-spouse, or they have a beneficiary on there where it might have been their mom or their grandmom, and that person is deceased, like it's just stuff like that a lot of times people don't think about. Or you've been in a car accident and now you think to look at your policy and see if you have full coverage, or if you got rental coverage and stuff like that. So for us, especially being licensed insurance professionals, we advise that at least twice a year, maybe end of year, beginning of year, and then mid-year, you review your policies. And then of course any type of life changes, you want to review your policies. And so when we're talking about using these types of policies to be the bank, you most definitely want to check out your bank, right? And you wouldn't deposit money into the bank and not at least know how much you have in there, or the status of your account and all that kind of stuff. So you gotta put on another hat here, like, hey, I own a bank. How would you act now?
I gotta keep monitoring. I gotta just know what assets I'm holding.
Yeah,
because that's truly an asset, the same way you would do when you take it and buy that real estate property.
Yeah.
So again, you just want to make sure that you understand how to move your chess pieces. But we gotta start playing chess, not checkers. You know what I'm saying? That's the part, because the checkers is, I see the jump right now and I'm going to take it. That's the short win, right? Chess is, hey, I'm strategizing to see what my next 3 or 4 moves are, but I'm playing like that right now.
Exactly.
I'm playing like that right now. Chess is, checkers, hey, I'm gonna take this little short win. I'm gonna get the shoes. I'm gonna get the car. I'm gonna take the vacation instead of putting that money to the side and doing something fruitful with it. That's checkers. Chess is, hey, yep, let me strategize on my next 3 pieces. So when I visit myself 10 years from now, my today self is going to say, hey, thank you. You know what I'm saying? My 10-year, hey, thank you.
Absolutely. And that's literally how that works. We're, 38 now. And I 10 years ago, we started on this journey of entrepreneurship, and now those people, that looked at us a little weird, 10 years ago are, like, man, they really did what they set out to do.
And continuing to build the vision.
Yeah.
Continuing to build.
And so we just want to stretch y'all, man. It's the end of the year. I know where your brain is at, because I know where mine is at, except I'm not building from scratch this time. I'm not taking my paper and ripping it up, saying, man, last year was a bust. I'm not saying that. I'm saying I'm now continuing to build on the foundation that we started setting, 10 years ago. And that's where, we want more people to be at, where we're not, we're not having shoulda, coulda, woulda conversations, but we're having, I got next conversations. Yes. What I'm saying?
Now what's the next play? What's the next chess move?
Yeah. So I'm saying, hey, take a moment, sit back and reflect, figure out, what things, maybe didn't go well, or things that did go well. But, after that, I made a post about that earlier today, sit down with that blank sheet of paper and don't be afraid to, don't be afraid to ask God, what does he want you to put on the canvas?
Yeah.
And whatever he says, do, execute that thing out to the best of your ability, but, don't be afraid to walk forward, and I made another post today. I think I was just in some type of zone today. But I talked about, how a lot of times people are like, well, I don't know if I should do this, or I don't know if I should do that, or I don't know, if this the right investment or not. And I plainly said, when you start walking in a direction, if you get all kinds of turmoil, like, you know, everything is happening. Even the people that was, you know what I'm saying, I'm talking about your quote unquote ride or die, however y'all, you know, do it, everything acting up. That's how you know you're going in the right direction. You know what I'm saying? When everything seems like, man, the kitchen sink is falling at me. That's how you know you're going in the right direction. Because the enemy doesn't want you to prosper this way, right? We have access to wealth because the Bible says that we do, right? You know what I'm saying? God says that he has, you know, these wealth and riches for us, right? And I'm just saying that I want to make sure that I access it, not just in heaven, but on this side of heaven too. Okay.
100%.
And the way that we do that is we start walking forward in faith in what we know to do.
Yep.
But I also said that when you start walking in a direction and it's like crickets, I'm talking about ain't nothing happening. Ain't nothing stopping you from going that direction. You should probably hit the brakes.
Yep.
Because the devil, your co-pilot. He in there like, yes, keep going. Yeah. You know.
Thelma and Louise.
Yes.
Right on off.
But when you start in these directions, you know what I'm saying? Something, you know, as little as, you know, like go back to the $150 a month example. We start doing $150 a month, and now all of a sudden a new expense of $175 a month come up. The first thing you want to do is stop the new plan.
Right. Stop the plan.
You want to stop the plan because now this seems super unfamiliar to you, and now you're afraid. And I'm telling you that $175 came to punk you.
And see, people do the same thing in their business. In business in general, you start a new marketing strategy or whatever it may be, and then you stop. You know, because something else came up. You know, it is just, you know, you don't keep the plan. But but that happens a lot when it comes to that life insurance piece, or just starting a new trend like that, because people do, you know, something happens and next thing you know, it's like, oh, this is expendable because it's not a tomorrow situation. It's up the street and around the corner, but up the street and around the corner is.
But you know, something that I just thought about, because sometimes we always harp on the, you know what I'm saying, the extreme, right? We harp on the extreme of, you know, hey, all I got extra is $100 a month. There's another extreme that we've been exposed to as we have grown, you know, our different businesses over the years. And it's people that are in the position to do so, but have decided that they're too busy to take the time to think about it.
You know what, you're right.
And you know, those people aggravate me the most. And I'm just laying it all out on the line. We got time tonight. This is our last podcast of 2023. Y'all can stay, y'all can go, y'all watch the replay, you do whatever you want, but I want to talk about it. Because what happens is we have the ability, you know, to then change the trajectory of generations to come. And then we sit on our rump, and this is what I really hate to see. I really hate to see these same individuals, right? And I'm going there today.
I'm waiting on it.
I really hate to see these same individuals that can do what it is that we doing. You know what I'm saying? Clap up what we could do. And the next thing I know, I see you out in Costa Rica somewhere hanging out.
Yeah.
What is we doing? But you can't have a 10-minute conversation with your, you know what I'm saying, with people that are on the, you know, at least on the same playing field, right? And you like, oh yeah, I need to do that, you know, and I'm like, you got access to be able to build a generational wealth, and you setting your kids up for failure.
100%.
Because you want to go out, you know what I'm saying, and get more stamps on your passport.
But today.
And I'm not saying, you know what I'm saying, that you can't get the stamps on your passport. I'm saying, why are you not prioritizing, you know what I'm saying, what it is that's happening here? It just don't make sense. Oh man, we need to get together. We need to talk about it. No, we don't. We don't need to talk about it. I'm not flying out to no beaches with you to talk about it. Because out there, you chilling out on your little mimosas and whatnot. You ain't talking about business.
Let's keep
and I'm like, we have access to too many people in our circles that talk about everything, but don't do nothing. You know what I'm saying? It's just like we constantly are saying, this is what we're doing, this is what we're doing. And they're so excited to clap it up. Man, y'all doing it. I'm like, it ain't y'all. It should be us. It should be we.
We can do it.
We can, because the objective here, I was talking to Sean earlier today, and I was saying the goal here is for us to go further, faster together.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I enjoy vacationing, you know, with my husband, but what I would love to see is other couples like us, you know, out enjoying, you know, private islands together, but also knowing that on the back end, our paperwork is together.
Everything is good.
You know what I'm saying? But don't be out here getting flued out with me and you ain't got all your stuff for your churn set up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Your churn.
Yeah.
That's the part, you know what I'm saying, that gets me so, as you can tell, I get a little tangled up inside when you know what I'm saying, when you talking about what you talking about and you don't have your children set up.
Yeah. It's just ways to do it. It's just ways to do it. Like,
let's
just make sure we got our ducks in a row and try to, and that just comes down to a priority type deal. Like, what is it? Priority. Legacy is priority for us. You know what I'm saying? That's a part of our, you know, just who we are as at the core of our being, right? We believe that, you know, that God put us in position to create some opportunities and break some generational curses that's gonna allow our lineage to be some impact, some earth shakers. You know what I mean? Like to go be some real dominators.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So that's what's important to us. And then we build experiences on top of that.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? We build experiences on top of that. But you know, it just, that's just who we are. But experiences may be on top of, you know, of your thing, you know, and then you spin off whatever you got left. You know what I'm saying? And that's okay.
I just don't like to see it, man. I just don't like to see it, because I think that, you know, a lot of times we have opportunities to just, you know, not just set our children up, but our children's children. Right. You know, now I'm talking to the people that claim to live the word, you know, or claim to be believers. If you just out here, you know what I'm saying, winging it, then okay. But, you know, for the folks that, you know, believe the word and then you know, attempt to live the word, it does state that we should leave an inheritance for our children's children.
Yeah.
And, you know, what we just explained for, you know, this last hour and some change, by utilizing this same tool, we actually did that. Right. So regardless to, you know, whether we meet our grandchildren or not, they're wealthy people, you know, just by way, you know, of the policies that we've set in place already.
I'm talking about inflation going to have to be tremendously high for it to, for them not to have
and it just from that space, right? We've at least lived the word to that degree, so that, you know, when Caitlin and Kirsten, you know, are of age, they're not trying to figure out how to set their kids up. They're setting up their grandkids.
Exactly.
And that's what the word was legitimately telling us to do, right? Is that our responsibility is not just for our children. It's for our children's children. Yep. So that when our children come along, our children are now building the foundation for their grandchildren, right? Not I'm looking back and forward and 2 generations up at the same time. But since, you know, that is the position that we're in, okay, great. We just have a greater sacrifice, right? Yeah. Because now, not only am I going to pull from the back up, I'm going to take my children and make them okay. Now I'm going to take my grandchildren and make them okay. Because I'm saying, God, I'll take that responsibility, right? Me making that sacrifice to pay $150 a month first. He said, okay, I can trust her to manage. Okay, me making the sacrifice to pay $500 a month. Oh, okay, I can trust her to manage. Now me making, you know, a sacrifice to pay $1,000 a month. Oh, okay, I can trust her to manage even more. What that says is I can trust them to pull from back a generation, take the ones that they have in their hands and set up the children to come. It takes sacrifice, I get that. But at the end of the day, that's to me what's most important. Right, is that somebody makes the sacrifice in whatever moment that they're in and say, this stops here.
Yeah. And I like the way you said it earlier, that sacrifice is strategy. You know what I'm saying?
It's strategy.
Like it's strategy. I know what I'm working to get. You know what I'm saying? I know where I'm working to build.
Yeah, I'm not losing anything. You know what I'm saying? Like we literally started out with the example of we used a strategy and we didn't buy Christmas gifts for 6-7 years. Yeah. Inside of that strategy of us not buying, even for the first couple of years that Caitlin was born, us, the parents of our daughter, we did not buy her a Christmas gift
at all.
Period. Did not. But what we were doing, in addition to getting ourselves out of debt and working on, you know, building savings and working on building strategies to build businesses, we were also sowing, right? Now, that's a whole nother podcast. But we were also sowing into families that needed for whatever particular reason during the holiday season. And we still do it, right? To this day. I believe that God honors those types of sacrifices that lead to strategies.
Yeah.
Because now this Christmas, in addition to us buying them stuff that they did not need, we bought them an investment property.
Yep.
And I'm not taking that lightly. Because I'm saying, if I was able to buy them a duplex this year, okay, God, what you gonna multiply it to next year?
Yeah.
You know, What other properties are our grandkids' names going to be on? From the same strategy that we started years ago. We didn't throw it in the trash. We kept working it.
That's it.
That's the whole point. Is I just don't want people to get out here and think, new year, new me.
Yeah. I feel exactly what you're saying. Yeah.
New year, new strategy, new year, new man. You know what I'm saying? Whatever y'all got new. I'm just saying, let that be the last year for that.
Yeah.
Let's
build.
That you partner with God this year. You know what I'm saying? And you build whatever that strategy is, but then you don't throw it in the trash come this time next year.
Yeah.
But that you take it, you know what I'm saying, and you keep you keep piling on that to where you can actually see the fruit of your labor, long term. And it really does happen fast.
It does. Because you at work.
Yeah.
Like you putting in the work to do it, to keep building that part of the vision. And then you get excited because you see another part of the vision.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's like, man, hey, now I'm building, I got a different energy, you know what I'm saying, as a result of that. So it makes a huge difference. And I'm excited about what's coming.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited about seeing other people along the way. Cause again, it is a little Dion, I don't know what it is, but it's like when we down, we tend to stick together. But when we get up, you know what I'm saying?
Now I look a little fishy.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So
I don't know that stuff, Chris Lamont.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like,
no, that's them.
Like, yeah, nah, man. Look, don't look at it like that. 100%. Don't do that to
you.
You
said a mouthful on that one, man.
Don't look at it like that.
Yeah,
So.
you said a big mouthful on that one. I just say, transparently, be okay to like share where you are, right? And I'm not saying with us, but I'm just saying
whoever,
with whoever, because a lot of times I think in what happens in what you just said, like how because when you down, like everybody down,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying. But then when you get to a space where you might actually be up, or you might actually be seeing some fruit, sometimes people feel a level of shame.
Well,
you know what I'm saying, that they're not there.
Yeah, I agree, but I also think that part of them, they may hate on it just a little bit. And I ain't saying, that's my case or anything like that, but they may hate on it a little bit just because that same dream that y'all talked about, or that you're living out, they start to see it in themselves, or they've seen it in themselves, but it hadn't come to fruition because they're not putting in the work.
I was about to say they ain't do the work.
You know what I'm saying? Because they're not doing that. So it's one of those things you have to be, able to kind of see and recognize what does that look like, with the individuals that you may be, or how you may be interacting with those other, with other people, just in general.
And sometimes I think that's the only time where you start to, reevaluate the plan or the strategy is when that environment isn't conducive for, what it is that what you're trying to do. Yeah. But I'm saying transparently share because sometimes we're in spaces, right? Mm-hmm. Like, and I feel it, you know what I'm saying? Like if I'm in a certain space and I know that a person may need some information that I have, but they won't transparently share the truth.
I got you. Won't really tell you where they at.
Right.
The real struggle
and the way to benefit from the type of information that we're sharing with you today is to transparently share where you are. Right. Yeah. And whether it's with us or, with your
whoever,
core group of people, a lot of times your answers are in the room. Like a lot of times your answers are like within your core group of people, especially if you're doing something like listening to this podcast or you find yourself reading a lot of books or listening to any kind of podcast, whatever the case may be. If you're into, personal development and growth, it's very likely that somebody in your circle probably is about that, because you're not going to listen to this kind of stuff and not grow. And so I said that to say, you have to transparently share with your circle, like, hey, this is what I'm struggling with right now. Like, this is where I needed help, or, hey, I have a gap right here. What do you know what I'm saying? What do you think, or whatever. But a lot of times we're so quiet, in our down seasons that, the enemy is then allowing us to just stay trapped in our thoughts. Right. And we don't get to experience the progress that we could, because we're thinking if I transparently share, I'm going to be judged. And I'm just saying, as I've said before, that other people's opinions don't get you paid. Nope. And so you can't just stay closed in your box and think that, I'm going to figure it out on my own, because you haven't yet, and a lot of times your answers are in other people. If they know that you have, the struggle or the situation or whatever it is, that you're dealing with, if you would transparently share truth, right? then you can get a lot, further along your journey, a whole lot faster than what you would have if you, allow shame, or fear or whatever to stop you from, from sharing that information. So I just felt like I should share that, because a lot of times when we're giving information like this, a lot of people don't want to talk about it because they don't want to say that I need to start at $50 a month,
right?
Or I need to start at $100 a month. And we're saying we're sharing strategy with you. We don't really care if you start with a term life policy right now, because that's all you can get. Exactly. And my plan is to convert it to a whole life policy in 2 years. But I'm gonna drive, in the right direction.
With one generation.
That's starting
with one generation, making sure, hey, the generation that's right here right now, they gonna be okay if I depart.
Yeah,
that's one generation. Then we can start looking levels deeper. You know what I'm saying? But it becomes a priority, or it becomes, hey, this is what I'm really looking to do. Whether it be in the form of the life insurance policy, whether it be in the form of investment, property, whether it be in the form of whatever it is, that you decide if you want to buy another 18-wheeler and put it on the road or something. I don't know.
But the bigger picture of it is that I think we probably should have said way from the beginning, it's not the transfer of money that makes people wealthy.
Yeah,
it's the transfer of information.
100%.
It's not the money that we're transferring, which is why, when we did the transaction with our daughters, last week with the property, I was intentional about, when we went to the bank, I went to the bank to get the check. I had Caitlin hold on to that check all day.
Yeah.
Now that's a big deal. You know what I'm saying? But I said, hey, you're responsible for the check. So every time we got in and out of the car, I said, where's the check? She said, okay, it's right here. So we get inside of the title company to do the transaction. And she's like, well, here, Mom, here's. I said, no, you hold on to that. I said, it's going to be a point in time where you're going to have to give the check. But I am, giving her the information, right? Yeah. I'm not just giving her the property. I'm giving her the information through the process. Yeah. That's where the real wealth is transferred. It's not just giving people access to a whole bunch of money, right? Yeah. And so how you build your wealth is, let me give out the information that I do have.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Let me tell people what I do know so that they can help me to get a lot further. So I'm just at least telling her what I do know. Hey, it's important, you know what I'm saying, that you hold on to this check, right? I'm telling her the information that she can grasp right now, right here, right? At her level.
At her level.
You know what I'm saying? And okay, all right, it's about to come up. Okay, you need to give them the check.
Exactly.
Hey, you need to pull the check apart from the stub. Now, this is the important part. This gives you proof that you gave them this money for this property. You hold on to this, right? I'm giving her information.
Yeah.
So that she can safely transfer the wealth for generations to come.
And she ain't intimidated when she walk in them type of room. You know what I mean? When you got the big long conference table and the big leather chairs, and you got some people at the table, some look like you, some don't, whatever.
Sit at the table.
Sit at the table. Sit at the table.
But whatever that part of that story that looks like for you, you have to apply that in your space. So for you, you know what I'm saying, that may look like, hey, I'm gonna get this, 30-year term life policy. And then you sit down and you explain to your kids, hey, I got this term life policy so that if anything, does happen to me, what I would feel like is prematurely, then, hey, this is what you're going to do with this money. Yep. You know what I'm saying? This is how you're going to, be able to build wealth. And then 2 years later, when you're able to transfer that over to a whole life policy, you then go and have another conversation. And you say, this is why I'm doing this. And, 5 years from now, this is what we're going to do with this money. Right. Yep. Like that's the part, that sets, your strategy now from chess to checkers.
That's it.
It's transferring the information, but being intentional, about doing that.
Yep. That's it. 100%. You got to be intentional. You got to be intentional, but you got to set your heart to it.
Yeah. Well, y'all done hung with us tonight. I had a lot to say. Yeah. So, I mean, it's been 2 weeks.
It's been, what? I didn't think about that.
It's been 2 weeks since we've been on here, and this was the last one for 2024. So, yeah, if you're catching the replay, I know you've been blessed. If you're watching it live, I know for sure you've been blessed. You hear me? I feel good about the information that we shared tonight, and I 100%. Pray that if you got any value out of it, I just pray that you put the information to action. You know, for me, I feel like we've sowed a seed of information, and
any change you want to see, you have to change the management of it.
Mm-hmm.
You got to change the manage. So you got to change the way that you manage those styles, the way that you manage your future plans, the way you manage your legacy, the way you manage any and everything going forward as it relates to the strategy and the plan that you want to execute. This is you and your family.
Yeah.
We have a strategy.
It's a strategy.
We have a strategy.
Whatever your strategy is, I say plug and play it.
Play it, please.
But that's the biggest piece is do something with the information. Yeah. Don't come to us talking about, man, I wish I would have listened to. Don't do that. Start with where you are, with what you have, and watch it multiply. You can't expect to get a whole forest of trees and you have not planted the first seed. Amen. All right. Well, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Yeah,
because we won't be doing another podcast until after the new year. And so Happy New Year to you guys. We thank you for an amazing first year of the Love and Business podcast. It has been a great journey so far. We've done successfully 30, I think this is 33, okay. 33 episodes. Mm-hmm. And so hopefully maybe next year we can get in more than 33 episodes. Just, I guess, depends on what our life schedule looks like. But we're going to try to give you as much value and as much content as we possibly can in 2024. But it'll look a lot like today. It'll look a lot like, working to figure out how we can dissect our strategies, then make it palatable, for everybody to understand and give easy steps that's executable. Mm-hmm. But again, if you have questions, you're more than welcome, to ask questions. We just ask that, you don't inbox them on Facebook or anything like that. Cause that's, for us, we're setting boundaries, for things like that. So if you have questions, please reach out to Lemoyne at his office. You can email him at lemoyne@whodatinsurance.com. That's WHODAT insurance.com. Yeah. Or you can call the office, during regular business hours. That's 504-218-4420. You can do that. And we're more than happy, to review your current policies and see, what options that you have, or, strategies for setting up new ones. We're A-okay with that, but you don't have to go that way, you need to go a way.
That's all I'm saying.
You need to go away. Whatever it is, you need to work your plan. So we appreciate you guys. Thank you for the awesome comments and feedback. We see them. Thank you so much for sticking with us tonight. And we'll see you guys in 2024.
Yep. Blessings.
Good night.